morning, everyone, and welcome back to BOCI TV. I am your host this morning, Delmar Johnson. I'm the CEO of Delmar Johnson Enterprise, and our next guest is Marlin Mckelvy. And before I get to Marvin, I want to let you know a couple of things. First of all, BOCI TV is being sponsored today by Organic Gold Coffee. Rico Johnson is our pro member and representative for that. And if you want to know more about that, I always have my cheat notes up here, everyone. If you want to know more about that, please go to sampleourcoffee.com and you'll find out all about what Rico is doing with Organic Gold. We got a couple of more announcements that I want to make before we get to Marlin. I want you to know that one of our executive council members, Shelley Bauer, is going to be with the NABO Entrepreneur Forum on June 11th, and our own Sherry Henley, can I get a round of applause? Our own Sherry Henley will be formally inducted as one of the board members of NABO. So, and that's on next Tuesday, June 11th. So we wanted to give both of them a shout out for what they're doing with NABO. Now, and if you're online with us, you can follow us on Twitter. At BO Coffee is our Twitter handle, at BO Coffee. So Marlin, come on, let's kind of jump into this interview and let the world know who you are.
Well, I'm the president of Consumer Directed Benefit Solutions, and I bring over 28 years of experience in the world of healthcare finances, really, I think what we need to refer to it now. Lots of people used to call it health insurance. Throughout most of my career, the world of employee benefits and health insurance has been on an evolutionary change pattern, but we're on the cusp of a revolutionary change in how people go about looking for, purchasing, and selecting health insurance and other employee benefits that are going to change the way things have been done in this country really since the inception of the health insurance concept. And that's going to be beginning October 1st of this year.
Yeah, right around the corner.
Many people are unaware, and quite frankly, most everybody is unprepared for this very dramatic change in environment. So one of the biggest changes that will be coming into effect will be the rollout of what are called, they were called the health insurance exchanges. But really no one was exchanging health insurance, and so the government has now changed the term to health insurance marketplaces. And so you will have a new world where people will be able to purchase health insurance, whether it's individuals or businesses, outside of these exchanges, and there will be good reasons for them to do that. And there will be this new exchange-based world, and there will be good reasons for people to go to that access point for their individual or small group health insurance. And really to start out, we're talking about in the exchange or marketplace environment, people buying individual health insurances, and then businesses with less than 50 employees being able to operate in these environments. And what is essential to understand about these health insurance exchanges for people that are looking for individual coverage, and what's going to be changing, is all policies will become guaranteed issue. Pre-existing condition exclusions will go away. So a person that's been a type 2 diabetic, Crohn's disease, cancer patient that in the past would have been declined for coverage in the individual health insurance marketplace will no longer be subject to declination or rate up for this coverage. In the individual marketplace, people will be eligible for a premium subsidy up to 400% of the federal poverty level. In English, that could translate to an income level of over $42,000 a year for an individual, and over $94,000 a year for a family, being able to qualify for some degree of subsidy for individual health insurance. And so we are looking at this as being very transformative in the marketplace. As you might guess, though, this will not be simple. And so first of all, guess what?
What?
There's going to be forms you're going to have to fill out.
Of course, of course.
And so this is what's going to make it a little bit more complicated. That's where someone like me is going to have to enter into the process, because first of all, you're going to have to fill out one set of forms just to see if you qualify for that subsidy. And then whether it makes sense. Now, I'll be honest with you, getting up to about 250% of the federal poverty level, which will probably be high 20s or so, is when the point where people will be getting, pretty substantial subsidies. Then it begins to taper off pretty substantially from there. It'll be a much different world. You'll have to learn a whole new set of terminology. We'll be talking about what are called metallic plans: platinum, gold, silver, bronze. What in the world does that mean?
Exactly.
So somebody's going to have to be able to explain that. So you're going to fill out one set of forms to see if you qualify for subsidies. Then you're going to have to actually choose your health insurance carrier and the plan design that you want.
In other words, let me stop you, Mark. In other words, you need to connect with someone like Mark. How about that? Because first of all, insurance, and I've come from an HR world, so I've been around it, have heard about it, benefits and everything. But because of the changes that are coming through, it's not going to be all roses and cherries and everything, and it's not going to be the easiest thing to understand, but will become understandable to the entrepreneur, the small business owner, and the individual if you connect with someone who has been in the insurance industry, who has been around this kind of complexity for 30 years.
Well, even worse, I have been wading through this healthcare reform law for the last 2 or 3 years.
Yes.
Which is something that, every day another layer of the onion gets unpeeled, so to speak, here.
Exactly.
And something new is revealed. And
so people are going to have to be open to change. I mean, it's to my knowledge, it's not going to go away. We're not going to be able to run from it. So those of us who are going to be faced with it, all of us are going to be affected in some form or fashion as an individual entrepreneur or a small business owner or a larger businesses. So we have to get to the point where, okay, let me see what I need to do. Let me see what I need to learn, because we're not going to be able to run away from it, right?
No, there's really not avoiding it. I mean, people can avoid it. You can choose not to provide health insurance or take out health insurance. You will be subject to a tax penalty. Now, this gets into another interesting area. The tax penalty the first year, if you decide to go without health insurance, is going to be a whopping $95 or 1% of your income, up to a maximum of a couple of $100s. So there's great concerns that for the young, healthy people, that they may still decide that I'm bulletproof and nothing's going to happen to me, and I can spend that money rather than on insurance on a nice new iPad.
Yes.
And so different set of priorities. Rating will change quite significantly, and so this will have an adverse impact, quite frankly, on the 20, 30, maybe getting into early 40 age bands, where they'll be paying more for health insurance. More mature people like me, we may actually come out ahead in the game in the new rating environment, and may find that our rates are at the same level or lower than they might have been otherwise. Many businesses are going to have to make some very significant and perhaps very difficult decisions as to, does it make sense for me to maintain my group health insurance plan? Or is it really more in my business's best interest and my employees' best interest for them to go into these exchanges? For instance, I'm going to be meeting tomorrow with a company that is primarily male, young to middle age. They will be very adversely impacted by the new rating methodology that will be in effect in 2014. And so one of the things we'll be talking about to some degree is a totally different approach that will allow them not to avoid all of the consequences of the healthcare reform law, but to sidestep a great many of them. So there's an awful lot of evolution going on within the health insurance companies themselves, new products being brought to marketplace to recognize that there's going to be different niches out there, and you'll have just as dynamic of a marketplace for some people and businesses outside of the health insurance exchanges as you will inside the exchanges. Mm-hmm. And so what is going to be essential for many individuals and many small and even larger business people is to have somebody with background and depth that can help guide them through these uncharted waters. Let me take you to another example. Let's say you have an employer that has several restaurants. Mm-hmm. Their full-time employees maybe come to like 32. And then they've got their waiters and waitresses and cooks that work on a part-time basis. We have another little interesting wrinkle called full-time equivalents.
Mm-hmm.
So
FTEs.
Yes, so you have to add those in there. If that gets you above this magic 50 employee threshold, then you're in an area that if you're not providing benefits or you're not providing the right kind of benefits, some very significant tax penalties can apply. Mm-hmm. So let's take this hypothetical person. Let's say they get to 51 employees. They get to subtract out the first 30. That leaves us 21, right, if my math works out. If they're not offering any benefits at all, let's just say not offering any benefits, take those 21 remaining employees, multiply that by $2,000, so you have a $42,000 tax penalty that you're going to have to pay to the IRS that is a non-deductible business expense. Kind of adds insult to injury in a lot of ways. And there's an awful lot of businesses, as an HR person, there's an awful lot of businesses you know that fall into that kind of category.
Most definitely.
Or they've done what's called a management carve-out, where they're providing benefits to salaried employees, office employees, but not the hourly workers or stuff like this. So they need guidance, help, strategies on how to deal with or at least mitigate the consequences of this. I have calls almost on a daily basis from people that have 3, 4, 5, 6 employees, and they're going, oh my gosh, I've got to offer health insurance to my employees. I'm going, well, no, actually under the law, with less than 50 employees, you're not required to offer health insurance. Now you should, but that just goes to show you, as the polls have been showing, even after all of this press on TV, radio, newspapers about the healthcare reform law, the majority of the American public is still virtually ignorant about this very important change that is about to arrive.
And that's why we need someone like you. I'm going to keep saying that until it sticks in everybody's head, that we need a Marlin Mckelvy in your corner. So Marvin, excuse me, I'm calling you Marvin. Marlin, please tell everyone where they can find you because they need to get in touch with you.
Well, my website is www.cdbsagency.com. So that's www. C as in Charlie, D as in dog, B as in boy, S as in Sally, agency.com. And I will be working with Business Over Coffee to provide consultation. Okay. And then we will be providing a link to my private health insurance exchange portal for BOCI members, so that they will be able to go into an online environment that will help them shop for individual health insurance.
And that's part of the, let me interrupt, that's part of the 15-minute review that as a professional member that you get. That's one of 2 reviews that you get, and Marlin's going to be providing a 15-minute review, and you can connect with him on that website that leads them to that portal that you just told us about. So that's awesome. Do we have any time for any questions, or anybody have any questions?
2 questions.
Okay. We got time for 2 questions. Okay, now I know that probably went over, and that's quite all right, because it went over mine too. And I'm in HR, so it's quite all right. It's quite all right. But if we don't have any questions, do we have any activity? online?
We actually have an announcement to make. And
Well, let's make that announcement.
that is next month is July
Yes.
4th. Falls on a Thursday.
Uh-huh.
It's the first Thursday when we normally do this.
Yes.
We will be closed. If you show up, you will be by yourself. Okay? So our next professional interviews will be done the first week of August. Okay?
Awesome.
Now, remember, next week is what? Can anybody tell us?
Leave your own web.
Weave Your
Oh,
Own
Weave Your
Web,
Own
which
Web.
is the
Basic
social media
Media.
basic
Mhm.
training BOCI certified.
Yes.
We're going to be covering LinkedIn. It's going to be fabulous.
Awesome.
I will be speaking, and Mike Esposito will be speaking. And it's not just going to be speaking, it's a workshop. You're
Yes.
going to be here with your laptops and so forth. And then I must have a drum roll.
Okay, let's do a drum roll.
BOCI Click and Connect on the third Thursday of this month on the 20th. Dr. William Mott will be here along with Talk Shop's Joe Garner.
Yes, we
and
love Joe.
also another guest. It's going to be a fabulous event. So
Yes.
just wanted to give those shout outs.
Awesome. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you. Anything you want to wrap up with, Marlin?
Be happy and honored to be able to help any member of BOCI, whether you're here locally or viewing remotely. Please feel free to email me at marlin@cdbsagency.com. That's MARLIN, cdbsagency.com. Thank you.
Awesome. Let's give Marlin a round of applause. Thank you so much. You're going to wrap up with me.
Oh, okay.
Cool your engines. Cool your engines.
That's right.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us out there online. I am Delmar Johnson, your host today, CEO of Delmar Johnson Enterprise. I bring everyone together with BOCI. Until next time, talk to you then.